Okay, this is how we're starting this first story. Mamma mia! Italian speed skater Francesca Lollobrigida, she won her very first gold on her 35th birthday, while also, that's not all, folks. She also set an Olympic record. But even though those are all things we should be talking about, that's not what social media is talking about. They want to talk about her rambunctious 2-year-old son. She ended up grabbing him after her win, taking him along to all of her media interviews, but that caused a stir for a lot of people on social media. Now, we cannot show you the video. I don't know if y'all know this, but the Olympics have very strict rules about not showing their videos if you don't have the rights. But you can see it online, but we're gonna maybe, we act it out a little bit?
Who's the kid? Am I the baby?
Okay, yeah, you're the kid. So I'm mom.
Okay.
Mom just won, she's doing an interview.
Here. No, you're the kid, you're the kid.
What was it like winning gold?
Oh, mamma mia, que bella. It's amazing.
So it was amazing?
Yes,
Tell me more.
Yes,
Tell me more about it.
Oh, it was a magnifica.
I would give up.
It was
I would give up.
Anyway, you get it.
Thank you.
That was good, but you didn't put your hand over your mother's mouth or tell her to stop talking and be quiet.
Lipstick.
And he was very vocal.
Yeah, so there was that part where, you know, he did also try, you know, like what kids do. He had the microphone, he was trying to shut his mother up. But anyway, people online are saying this moment should have been hers alone, okay? That this was not the place for her child to be. Anyway, what do we make of the decision that she chose to include him in that moment?
I know! Guys,
You like it.
I also could not understand what all the fuss was online. Let's keep in mind, her work was already done. It's not like she picked up the child and brought him speed skating with her. Like, then I could sort of understand. Her work was done. She wanted to share this moment with him. It's very mama Italian energy, and I just think that moms can't win. If they aren't spending enough time with their kids, they get attacked and criticized. If they are and they include them in these moments, then they get attacked and criticized. And I think we just have to stop. Let her do her. She won, guys.
I think moms can do whatever they want. If this is her choice, it's her choice. Bravo. However, what I do take issue with is this idea that her work was done, Sin. Because yes, she was done racing, but it is customary after you compete in an Olympic sport to go do an interview with a journalist. I struggled to get my microphone in there when Mel and Sin were just messing around here. Can you imagine that professional journalist trying to do their job and this kid is mauling their mother getting in the way? And the other thing is, this was her moment. As we said, her 35th birthday, the first gold for the host country, her first gold, and we're talking about her son. To me, this was her moment. I have been there as a mom with a toddler in a professional setting. Think about COVID. Trying to do all those work calls with my kid crawling all over me. It's impossible to be present. She should have been able to be present in that moment.
Yes, I'm with you.
I don't know. Okay,
I'm siding with you, and you know what? I know where this is coming from. It's coming from my own childhood, but I'll tell you this one thing that I hear parents say all the time. It takes a village. So my question in this moment, where was her village? Because I understand why you want to have your child with you, right? But the minute he starts acting up and telling you to be quiet and he's crawling all over you, that's where I was looking for the village, because I know that 2-year-old didn't arrive in that stadium by himself. Someone brought him there. So where was that person off camera to go, don't worry, you do the scoop and go. You scoop the kid up and you go so that mom can have her moment, because everything you said about her, I watched that interview, I didn't know anything about her. You know why? Because her son was so distracting. I only found out the things about her when you just did the intro. To me, that's where the miss is. I just wanted the person who was around them to just see the moment and be like, you know what, this is where I go in and I grab the kid. They got the photo out, that's cute, but let mom have her moment.
Yeah, I get it. You know, it's hard. Like, I see both sides of this. I really, really do. But again, she's the one who ran up and chose to grab him, and she knows what her son is like. That's very typical 2-year-old behavior. That was maybe good for 2-year-old behavior. Here's the thing, it is so tough for people, because like you said, moms can't win. But women are expected to work like they have no kids, and we're expected to raise our kids like we have no work. And what we are visualizing here, right? This is an image of the plight of every working mother. You just all saw it. So if you thought that was uncomfortable, good. I guess, because that is what we have to deal with all the time. This reminded me of former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. And she broke she made history because she was the first political leader, world leader, to be at the United Nations with her 3-month-old newborn. And she was there with the baby. Dad was there, though. The village was there. But she was still, you know, talking in the microphone. She was nursing. And I said, you know what, if we can normalize, we like to believe that moms were super women, and we are. But I think we forget how hard working moms have to work because you don't see what exactly she has to juggle all at the same time.
But you know what I think is also triggering a lot of people? We're all putting ourselves in the shoes of what would have happened if this were me, if this was my family. And I think that's why we're so divided, because I think the people who are just like, he's just being a 2-year-old. Perhaps in your household, that kind of behavior would have just been met with, oh, he's just being 2, just let him be. And then in other households, you know what it would have been. It would have been the opposite. You would have been spanked, you'd have been yelled at, you would have been yanked, and you're in the car, you'd be like, you wait till we get home. You wait. Right? And I think that's why we're having that reaction. Depending on the household you grew up in, you know that would have been a very different outcome. Your mom would have shot you a look like, okay, you try me, okay. So that's where it's coming from.
I don't know about you guys, and I'd be curious to know your take, but I really like keeping work Kate and mom Kate separate. And it reminds me, I cover the NSL, which is the Northern Super League, a women's soccer league here in Canada. And one coach was telling me she has multiple moms on the team. And she said, I love that if moms want to bring their kids to training, they can. But I also know that in a sport venue, I provide a reprieve for them to get space from their kid. Like, I love coming to work and just focusing on my performance here. So I just wish she could have had that space. And listen, it was her choice, so maybe she could have. Maybe she could have.
I think she made the choice that works for her. We're gonna move on. This is the incredible story of the German ski jumper who won Olympic gold despite, get this, suffering from a fear of heights, okay? So Philip Raimund said in an interview that despite working with a mental coach, the fear sometimes takes over his body during flying, and he can't control it. So what do you think about this story and about this overcoming this fear?
You like it?
Isn't it amazing? I mean, this is why we love the Olympics, right? It's like, this could be the plot of a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, it reminds me, I have a deep, deep fear of flying. I don't think when I tell my friends that, they quite get it. And then I took a flight with a friend the other day, and she turned around during turbulence and said, are you okay? And I was bawling. Yeah, it's a deep fear. But I took a job, much like this guy, I took a job with an airline 15 years ago where I had to fly every 2 weeks because I knew it was worth it. I didn't want to let my fear get in the way. And the feeling after you crush a fear, it's like a drug.
But you didn't crush it though, clearly, because you still love it.
But I had a great job.
Okay.
But I got a great job. I still
You
travel.
squished it.
Listen, he still may be scared of it, but he won a gold medal. I got a great job.
I got you.
Yeah, listen, I have a fear of flying also, but I also went to therapy because, like you, I love to travel. So you got to figure it out. The thing that you want on the other side, you have to desire it more than letting the fear itself take over, which is hard.
Okay.
I know we have a flight attendant in the office, in the studio. She could tell us some things. But I went to therapy because I was like, if I want to travel, go to therapy. So to me, the story here, because he worked with a mental coach or something, you know what? It is relatively simple. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm not saying I'm the best flyer, but if you've got any of these issues, this is why we talk about mental health and normalizing therapy. It can take you from being really incapacitated to thriving. Look at you, right?
Yeah.
So, you know.
I still hug the pilot.
You still
hug the pilot. When I get off, I just hug the pilot, hug the flight attendant.
There you go, we made it.
Does that therapy work for commitment phobes? Just asking for a friend.
Possibly.
All right, so this one's gonna get the parents talking. Research presented to a 2026 U.S. Senate hearing warns that for the first time in recent history, standardized test scores have plummeted, and Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to score lower than their parents on important markers like literacy, attention span, memory, and just general IQ. So what about this concerns you the most, and what are we going to do about these dumb kids?
I mean, it's a huge topic, and I did, as I got in the pitches for today's show last night, I was reading this in front of my son, and I was like, guess what? Your guys are gonna be dumber than us. Like, it was actually, but I meant it as a joke, but I also meant it seriously. I was like, you guys, you have to be aware, all of the things that I'm constantly saying to you about watch out for screen times, that it is addictive, that they're trying to hack your dopamine. It means something, it's having an impact. So I think though, if I'm being totally honest, I'm part of the problem. And here's what I want to unpack with you guys, you can help me, is that sometimes at the end of the day, I've had a stressful day and whatever, I come home and I just want peace. So sometimes it's just easier, and I think this is true for all of us, to instead of sitting down and being like, I want you to read this very long book, help your attention span, or watch this very long movie, if there's a reaction from my son, I'm just more quick to be like, okay, fine, let's just figure out something else, or I'll let you do what you want to do. And I think so many parents are doing this, but is the fault the parents, or is it these tech companies?
No, it's not your fault. I need you to stop blaming yourself.
Thank you.
This is not a you problem. We all have a part to play, but I think that you as an individual can come up against the massive technology that has been designed to hack our children's brains and our brains, that is not on you. And here's the thing, when we were growing up and we came home, the reason why our parents didn't have to worry about us is because they kicked us outside.
That's right.
And so it's not just a tech problem, it's also a cultural problem. They call this the indoors generation. So they're not finding other outlets. The screen is a digital soother, it's become that way. But I think that one thing that we bought into, and I hope, we have Gen Alpha kids. So Gen Z is like, you are how old now? Like 16
What years?
to
I know.
29?
Z,
16
X,
to
Y,
29?
J, who knows?
So, and that's the generation that did this test. They're, sorry, you're dumb, apparently. Here's what we learned as Gen Alpha parents. We are watching the Gen Z kids who are struggling academically, and we are like, oh, no, back to basics. And so in my house, because I'm seeing technology was supposed to help, so technology was supposed to make life easier. And it reminds me of like the drive-thru. The drive-thru was invented so that you could get dinner faster, you didn't have to wait, you didn't have to get out of your car, a great meal fast. And what started happening? We started to have people relying on it too much, obesity rates started to go up, we stopped walking, we started cooking meals together as a family, we stopped eating whole foods. So there's a good and a bad. And the good to tech is, sure, maybe it connects people, but we haven't dealt with the bad, and we're starting to see it now. So in our house, we have boredom breaks, we have analog hour, and I'm trying my hardest to connect with all the moms, and they're so great. Get the kids back together, old school. We gotta get them off of these
And when you say get the kids back together, old school, you mean no parents, no like this is a play group where the parents all show up, like the kids are just outside, all the bicycles are on a lawn.
It depends on the age. We're not ready for that yet. We're not ready to go back to the 70s and 80s. We're not. We're too scared of apparently pedophiles, but they're not on the corner.
Pedophiles,
they're
it's the
online.
It's the
They're
distracted
online,
drivers and all that.
Okay.
Well, in terms of Gen Z, I do feel like this is a lost generation. I don't think they stood a chance. I always think about tech as drugs. It's like they were addicts before they even realized they were, and I don't blame their parents. They didn't know how addictive this technology was. But I do agree that I think parents of Gen Alpha are trying to do things differently. What I will say though is when I sat and thought about this, it's not the standardized test scores dropping that bothers me. I'm always skeptical of standardized tests as a measure of intelligence. And I do think that now there's more technology than ever to help kids with rote learning and to figure out facts. I am much more deeply concerned about the lack of resilience and grit that kids have now, because I think that is the marker of success.
Yeah.
I don't need my kids to be the smartest in the room, but I need them to know how to withstand friction.
So what are you doing to make your children more resilient?
So, for instance, one of the things, my son actually has a deeper aversion than most kids to friction. He's neurodivergent, so he's in therapy twice a week for this very thing. And one of the things the therapist said was, when you're playing games with him, make him lose. And it sounds little, and it sounds simple.
That's how I grew up.
But when the rest of the world isn't teaching him that, and technology is actually taking away all the friction, like my kids can't sit through commercials, it's something you have to, they can't sit through commercials because streamers are serving things up. They just next. It is a little thing you can do to reintroduce friction and grit, and that is my concern as a parent.
But I think you can't divorce it from tech, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, an interesting thing with tech in our house, and I took this lesson from the Instagram CEO of all people, which felt weird in my head, but you know, my son is about to turn 7, and so I was giving him half an hour of screen time each day, and I thought that was fair. And then what the CEO said is, he said, no, in my house we flip it. You start with no screen time and you earn it. So I've actually done that with my kid. We have no iPad time in our house until he earns it. And like, if he wants to earn it, he's doing things around the house, but you wouldn't believe it, he almost never asks for a screen anymore. So it's a little thing, but I do think we have to be so much more intentional now about fighting this technology.
Yeah.
But it's not only fighting technology. Again, if I can go back to the gender component of this, this will disproportionately fall on mothers' shoulders again.
It's true.
And we are trying to raise children in a time that is not like the way that we were raised. It's a very different time. There's a lot of pressures on us. Just trying to afford life becomes a really big challenge. And so it's now becoming a privilege to have your kids in sports so they're off their screen. It's a privilege to go to tutoring so that they're getting, you know, all of these things now. So we're not raising kids in the same time. So I do want to, that's why I go back to, we cannot take all the blame for this.
But don't you think this is a great time for all couples to have a conversation with your partner and say, listen, if we don't want our kids to go down this road, we collectively, because I don't believe that the fathers don't care about, or the mothers who don't care about what's happening to their kids, but I think this is what you do as a family, right? I'm a single person, my house is peaceful, but I'm just thinking, isn't this the whole point of having the family unit, to sit down and say, okay, husband, wife, this is what we need to do. We need to be all hands on deck, because you're right. If you're the only person who's taking that responsibility, then it falls on you. You're going to be frustrated, and then you're going to turn and be like, you know what, just take the tablet, because I can't deal with it.
But
so it starts with the conversation, the parents being on the same page.
Parents and the village.
But
the
also
village.
writing to your, like, I hate to say this, this is the time to actually push back. We need more government intervention. We need more systems in place.
Don't you feel like if you wait for that, it's going to be too late, though?
They're still trying to figure out Facebook. Okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't wait on the government, Cynthia.
That's
Your kid will be 30 years old in your basement by the time they figure that out.
It's true.